Welcome into The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. I never prepare what I'm going to say when I record these opens. Sometimes they come to me the second I sit down. Sometimes I've been thinking about them throughout the week, but I don't write anything down. I don't try to script anything. I just sort of speak. And so I want to say a couple things. First, I appreciate everybody that reached out to me last week or told me how important this podcast was to them, especially right now as people are just looking for anything to occupy their time, as many people are in their houses. And in many states, you can't leave your house except for essential grocery shopping or going to the gas station or whatever it might be. So I do appreciate those people that have reached out and told me how much they appreciate the podcast. Look, there isn't much to talk about in general. I think we're all kind of in the same boat right now, that hopefully you're doing everything that you can to help this virus, not spread as much as it could, whether that means you are quarantining yourself, you're staying 6 feet away from people, social distancing, whatever it is that you're doing. And hopefully we can return to somewhat normal sooner rather than later. But this is a tough time for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And, hopefully together we can kind of get through this. Again, I know it's not easy. And the last thing on our minds here with the Saints is, are we going to start on time, or when are we going to start? It's not something that's a forefront. We're all getting ready as if we were going to open on May 19th. You have to do that naturally, but there are so many other things that are much more important right now, and you just take it day by day. And so hopefully for those people out there that listen to this podcast, you are doing what you can to help make sure that the virus does not spread as much as it could, and that if you're in a state that you have to stay home in, that you're doing that. I think when we come out of this on the other end, a lot of us will appreciate the things that we have taken for granted. I know that as far as me and being a broadcaster, I will never, ever take for granted any moment that I'm on a broadcast, because I think broadcasters have a tendency in a 14-1 ball game or a 62-7 football game or whatever it is, you have a tendency to say, oh, all right, well, let's just get through this and get to the next game. I think a lot of us will appreciate even those moments because of what we've potentially lost in terms of seasons or parts of seasons here over the last month or so, and then going forward. So, as I told you last week, we're going to roll out a couple of repeat episodes here for the next couple of weeks. Then I think I'm going to release a new one after that, and then I'll reevaluate at that point. So for the next couple of weeks, we will rebroadcast. I don't expect that there's anybody out there that's listened to 194 of these episodes. So if I play one that you haven't heard before, it's brand new to you. And as I said, tell people about the podcast. Everybody's looking for something to keep themselves occupied. If you have a sports fan in your life, if you have someone that is into broadcasting, share this podcast with them. Tell them to, find their favorite broadcaster and to listen, and maybe they wind up getting hooked. But this week, it is Terry Smith of the Angels, and this is one of the earlier episodes that I recorded, went all the way back. I think this was episode 6 or 7. So, we're talking 3.5 years ago that this was recorded. And again, I always say this, an extremely nice guy, had some great stories. We were at the hotel that the Angels stayed at, and so just sit, enjoy, have fun with this episode. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do so. And again, tell people about it. Rate the podcast. I went back. I don't look very often. I went back and some more recent ratings and people giving their comments on there. So I greatly appreciate that. I don't care, good, bad, or indifferent. Whatever you want to say, go ahead. If it's going to be bad, at least make it constructive. Early on in this podcast, people told me to be shorter on the opens. Clearly, I did not listen to them. But I appreciate the input. You can follow us on social media, Twitter at The Voice BTV, Facebook, facebook.com/TheVoiceBTV. And you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. It's Terry Smith of the Angels. JW, I look forward to the moment that you and I can sit down and break bread again. Roll the open.